Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I decided to do another voiceover for you guys because this is just easier and you guys don't have to look at my mug for 10 minutes straight, several times a day. So, yeah, a subscriber asked, well, why not multivitamins? When I said I don't recommend them, and I know this is something that I have covered quite a few times, and some people are going to go, Jason, why are you covering it again? Well, because people don't seem to know it. They keep asking, and I guess this is one of those things that it's important to put out there. Well, there's a couple different points that we need to consider when we address this topic. Number one is going to be the fact that there is massive debate among the top experts in the field itself being nutritional science. The actual top researchers, top PhDs, people like that still argue whether multivitamin supplements are, number one, actually effective and useful for filling in nutritional deficiencies, and number two, whether they're actually safe to take or whether they can actually damage your organs and things or not. Now, before some people say, well, how ludicrous, it's pretty obvious the answer to those. Well, no, not really. When the top experts in the field who've dedicated their entire lives to researching this still don't have a consensus, then it isn't obvious. And it's certainly not going to be something that you or I are going to be able to determine for ourselves when these people are still arguing about it. So that being said, what do I mean by the effectiveness? Well, we're going to get into a minute as to whether people actually need them or not. But the actual effectiveness, meaning the ability of your body to absorb and utilize and metabolize all this combination of vitamins and minerals in the form that they are provided in these vitamins. What some people don't seem to grasp is that a lot of the vitamins and phytonutrients and things that we get, we absorb them best in a matrix the way they're found in foods. And I'm not trying to appeal to nature here with some sort of logical fallacy. What I'm saying is the way that our bodies need to metabolize and utilize them best oftentimes seems to be in the forms they're found in nature, meaning that entire matrix of that food is how we process them best. Now, there are nutrients and things out there that we absorb better in a refined form, and I'm not arguing that point, but better is a relative term, meaning just because we absorb them faster doesn't mean that that's the best way for our body to utilize them. You can oftentimes get a case where absorbing something so fast due to it being in a more isolated form can actually have a negative effect on your body, or in some cases we might absorb them so fast that we just excrete large amounts of it and don't really get an effective dose. So sometimes there's issues of absorption at the correct rates, and even just excreting these things without absorbing them correctly. Then you have the factor that a lot of these products contain so much of one substance that is going to block the absorption of another. What people forget also is that many nutritional substances we need outside of their actual caloric content, again, vitamins and minerals, non-calorie essential nutrients, share common pathways in the body. Like one of the easiest examples to describe is zinc and copper, two different metals, two different minerals that seem to share a similar absorption pathway. And if you have way too much of one present in your diet at any given time, it could block the absorption of the other. And the same could be said with some of these free-form supplements. They're put in a pill form, you absorb the whole thing very quickly. What can oftentimes happen is, say, if there's too much zinc in that supplement, it might actually block you from absorbing the copper, which could, of course, lead to a copper deficiency. So in some cases, these things can actually block your body's ability to absorb some of the important things you need by having too much present and overloading your system with a different one. And that can be really problematic. And that kind of goes to the point of danger that we have to look at, particularly when it comes to all the metals added to these supplements. So obviously things like water-based vitamins aren't that big of a deal. I mean, B12, vitamin C, also known as ascorbic acid, these things, they're water-based. We absorb them readily, and if we get an excess of them, we simply urinate them out. They turn your pee dark. Some of these pills just give you expensive, bright, glowing pee. You're just excreting the excess. So again, it's kind of hard to overdose on vitamin C. In fact, you can't. You just pee out the extra. Anything beyond about 500 milligrams of that particular vitamin every day, you urinate it out. Well, that's not the case with minerals, and particularly with a lot of the metals, what can end up happening is that with those, an excess of those in your diet can actually do a couple different things to damage you. So some of the experts are saying, hey, these things can damage your organs, and here's what I mean. We may not actually need these things in our diet, particularly people who are going and buying vitamins usually have pretty good diets. They usually eat a lot of foods. They oftentimes eat a lot of whole foods. In the case of things like the zinc and the iron and things, for example, a lot of these people eat very large amounts of meats and things that contain an excess of these substances already. So you're already oftentimes consuming on some of these foods 2 or 3 times what you already need in your diet. So throwing additional metals on top of it into a big mix, a big matrix like this, may push you to the point of toxicity, particularly if you take it over long periods of time. For example, if you're consuming too much zinc in your diet already due to, a lot of meat consumption, a lot of protein. Again, most people who take a vitamin consume a lot of protein. So you're taking all of this zinc already, and then you're stacking this in on top of it. You could, over the time, over weeks or months or years that you're taking this, develop toxic levels of this metal in your body. You could, number one, consume so much that your body starts to get a toxic amount that could damage your organs over time. And because, again, you're getting an excess of, say, the zinc, you could be blocking your absorption of copper. So you're getting to a toxic level of one metal while having a deficiency in another. And it shouldn't take much thinking for people to realize that how chronic use of these things could cause this. It's going from being, oh, this is an insurance policy that I didn't really need, to something that's actually harming my health at some point. And we run into the same issue with an overload of a lot of these things. Again, pretty high protein diets for people without other factors going on in their lives are easy on the kidneys. It's kind of a myth that it can really destroy your kidneys. Well, the problem we run into is that we start loading all these extra multivitamins on top of it, and all of a sudden, all the factors in your life could be detrimental to your kidney. You could be this guy who's consuming 250 grams of protein a day. You're also training really hard, high volume, high intensity training. That actually puts strain on your kidneys as well. So you're putting a strain on your kidneys. They can normally handle. They can handle the protein just fine in a perfect environment. It shouldn't cause your kidneys problems, again, until other factors come in. Well, the large amounts of training is also putting stress on your kidneys. So you combine that with a high protein diet, your kidneys are being worked a lot harder than the average person's at that point. Then you throw these vitamins on top of it that are creating excesses of various vitamins, minerals, even metals that your body's trying to excrete now, because you're consuming a chronic excess of various metals that then have to pass through the kidneys in your urine. On top of all the strain from the training and the ultra high protein diet and everything else, and you can reach a point to where these vitamin and mineral supplements can be contributing to damage to your kidneys. They can be contributing to damage to your liver over time. So we're talking about organ damage. And then to top it all off, you've got to look at how these things were marketed to begin with. They were started by a myth in the vitamin industry generations ago, saying that, hey, our soil is so depleted that we don't get enough vitamins in our modern foods compared to nature, and we need these as an insurance policy. That was clever marketing on the part of the vitamin companies back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. That's not actually true. In fact, modern crops, because of everything from selective breeding to genetic engineering, but even just the selective breeding, we have access to higher vitamin contents in our food than we had in their natural counterparts, irrespective of soil quality. We have bred superfoods like broccoli and bananas and cauliflower. A lot of these things that you guys eat are not found in nature. These are superfoods that we have selectively bred to not only taste good, but to be super nutritious. In nature, these foods don't exist in that same form. We have access to things like vitamin C and beta carotene and things at sometimes 5 or 10 times the amount that can be found in natural foods, because we've bred these foods for hundreds of years of selective breeding to make them be super nutritious. And we have a higher access than we've ever had in history to a lot of the vitamins and minerals in our foods. And the other thing is, with crop rotation, modern fertilizers, everything else, we get the mineral content back where we need it. No one's doing depleted soil. We use fertilizers today to get the mineral contents back up. This is not actually true. This is a myth. So then people take these supplements thinking that they're not getting enough nutrition from their food, when reality is we are. Usually if someone is malnourished in the United States or any first world country, a vitamin deficiency, it's due to one specific vitamin in their body and some factor involved. They might need to supplement that one vitamin in isolation, and a doctor can help you with that. If you have signs of a specific deficiency, you can go get a blood test and find out. It could be vitamin D3, it could be vitamin B12, but it's not going to be 5 different things found in that multivitamin. You don't need the insurance policy. Our food isn't deficient today, particularly our fruits and vegetables. They have more than they have ever had in history. It doesn't take that much to actually reach your needs, particularly if you're eating fair amounts of them and you eat a fairly clean diet. It's just not a problem. So this idea that our food is lower quality, our fruits and vegetables, and if therefore you need this as a insurance policy, is a marketing myth. So guys, the reality is, vitamin and mineral supplements like this, the big multivitamin ones, are not only not necessary nutritionally, they may not even be helpful, and in many cases they may be harmful or have contributing compounding factors on the rest of your lifestyle that could push you over the edge to where they do become harmful if consumed for extended periods of time. So that's why not multivitamins. All right guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.